I would love to now to call up all the speakers here up to the panel. Satya, our bicycle mayor, is he still around? Sandeep Matai? Girish, you're still here. That's great. So Girish, come up here. Right. So what we saw now are a lot of solutions, and what I really loved about the solution we saw is that they are all human-centered. And for you, as coming from WRI, when you talk about accessibility, how could Infineon help you on that journey?
I'm sorry, I wasn't there when you were presenting, so if you could just quickly give me a insight on your solution.
Okay, Infineon is, we're a semiconductor manufacturer.
Yeah.
So for us to actually sell semiconductors, nobody actually buys chips anymore.
Right.
So you have to create a solution to show them what it could do. So we create, for example, like telematic solutions or solutions for, inverters,
Yeah.
DC-DCs,
Right.
battery chargings, off-board, on-board.
So one of the key aspects that we as an organization have realized is that there's a huge surge of technology coming in, but the city applications, that's something that we focus on, the city applications and how can you plug it and play it into the city is something that a lot of agencies and governments don't have this bandwidth to kind of figure out, and that's something that we see it's a problem across industries. I think the way there is definitely benefit from this. The idea is to be able to create a platform for experimentation and to create those use cases. Because when you create those use cases is when you realize that that's how this works and this is what the benefits are, and that's the space that I think where an organization like WRI comes in, where an organization like yours comes in, and how do you plug it into the city so that the people of the city actually benefit from it.
Okay, so what we've got here, you've got the open doors of Infineon, of testing solutions, making solutions happen. You've got people like you doing the basic research. We need to get the real focused, people-focused solutions. And then we need the mayors to come in, like the bicycle mayors, to get the government moving. Is that right?
Partly true, but what I found also is that the other hat I wear at Urban Morph as a co-founder is that there are a lot of young makers, as I call them, who are making a lot of devices that are useful for, let me give you an example. In the cycling domain, we are looking at better ways of data capture, for example, right? Tracking devices and detecting collisions, detecting bad road surfaces and all that. These rely on kits like accelerometers and things like that. And they're always looking at kits and creating a test bed where they can test these kind of solutions. So it's very important to have at the kit level lots of components available which they can test out and put together, string together a solution. So on the data capture side, we are looking at one, and when people are riding, there's a lot of information that they need to gather. Hooking up air pollution monitors to that, hooking up close pass measurement devices, hooking up road surface gyroscopes and things like that. So we have a lot of these components that are making the vehicle more intelligent, including for the electric bikes, charge controllers and things like that. So that is where I think all these innovators are looking to have a test bed where they could come in, experiment and string things together. And I think I did see your startup challenge as well in Startup India. And these are things that are very useful for people to make these things. And that helps, that data is what helps make decisions at the planning level. There's no point in going to the departments and saying, you just need to do this. They'll ask me why. And how do you want me to do this? So you need to have answers to those questions, and data is going to make that happen.
So having the why and having the how, we need the what. Okay, and for the what, probably there is the audience here with a lot of knowledgeable people, maybe with a lot of questions. So it's now up to you. We've got here a real knowledgeable panel here sitting. So are there any questions in the audience? Please just introduce yourself with a few words and then place the questions directly to one of ours here on the panel. Thank you very much. Yours.
Yeah. I'm Colonel Hariprasad. I just was feeling, I was listening to all the deliberations which are going on. actually to sustain the mobility, we have to address two things. One is the population increase which is happening. Second is the frequency of transport, public transport system, which caters for the needs of the people. Now here, somebody has to wait for 40 minutes or 30 minutes at the bus stop. He may not take a bus. And once you are inside the bus, it is not comfortable either. So these things have to be firstly addressed, and then only remove the vehicles from the roads. Very good, carpooling, all that concept-wise, it works very well. But practically, if you look at it, everyone has got his own needs, and pooling the transport, if the driver is a separate person, then it's different. Otherwise, if it is one of those officials, he may feel uncomfortable to have carpooling continuously done. So you'll have to address all these emotional aspects as well before saying that we can find a solution for it. Okay. And that is why I thought one of the initial speakers will address these issues.
Okay.
Thank
so
you.
who do you want to put the question to?
Yeah, question is that before getting into any of this, you should address issues like the frequency of public transport system, reliability, security, and the emotional aspect of human being.
Absolutely right. Totally right.
So, you want to go first? I'm going to add.
Just one quick, I asked the same question to BMTC some time ago, is that why is your frequency at this particular bus stop so low? He didn't have an answer. I asked him, do you know how many people are waiting for this particular bus? He said, how do I know? He said, you take the ETM, electronic ticketing machine data. He said, but that's passengers who are already boarded and already made the choice. Do you know how many people are waiting at the bus stop, and do you know where they want to go? That data is not there, so you don't understand the demand for you to plan your supply. You will go on historical trends of what the frequency has been, but that still doesn't know there are so many people waiting at the bus stand and where they want to go. How do you get them to tell you where you want to go and ask for it? If it's an Uber, they can tell you and then you provision the service. But for static routes like BMTC, they really have a problem as to. So they say, I run this route. If you find out where you want to go, you align to my time, and then do that. Just a submission. I don't know how to solve the problem, but I'm just laying it out there.
Thank you.
Right. Just to add a few points there. So if you look at the BMTC routes, all right, the BMTC routes, and they actually service 90 to 98% of the population in Bangalore. They don't do it necessarily in the right frequency or in the best frequency. That's a different question altogether. But they do. That's one point. The second point is that the unpredictability of knowing when your bus is coming is 90% of the frustration. And the unpredictability of knowing whether you're going to get a seat in that bus is the other 10%. Just having data out there to know precisely when your means of transport is going to come in is going to take a lot of angst out of this. And that's a key component. Data is a key component. If I know that I have 40 minutes for the next bus to come, I'm going to use that 40 minutes to do something which is more productive. And that is not, as long as I'm able to predict and plan my day, that is much easier to deal with. Now let's deal with the emotional component. That's exactly what a quick ride solution is really trying to do. I don't know, KM, Mr. Rao isn't in, right? But from when I had engaged with them, they had a quite nice formula. They were trying to figure out what are the parameters you'd be comfortable with to share a car. So they're not saying, and with their model, they're not saying that you have to do 5 rides in a day. They're like, if you want to do 1 ride in a day, consider it. Then they put another parameter, say, you will probably identify with your society that you live in. So maybe, why don't you just limit yourself to those people, or the company that you work for. If I work for company A, I do have a sort of a, image of people working. It may be true, it may be wrong, but I come with that bias, that it is, these people are like me, I'm okay with that. So it's finding those layers that make you comfortable to do this. I think it's a bit of a behavioral aspect, and we were just talking about, that's why we were outside, we were talking about how can data be used for behavioral changes, and those are the things that kind of step in, and that's what is enabled by today's technology.
So it's bringing data on one side and the people on the other side together, and how do we manage that? Any more questions here from the audience? Oh,
Hello.
over there.
Yeah,
The Dutch
Can I take the
Chamber of
question?
Commerce, I think, was... where's the mic? Ah, it's already there, sorry. The light is so strong here,
That's
I can't see it. Right, just introduce yourself.
I am
quick.
Shiva. Actually, probably this question, I mean, first of all, the quick ride is a fantastic concept. Actually, last 2 years, and some of my friends, colleagues, joined your company, and I just came to know that it's doing fantastic. Probably this question is towards to the Infineon thing. Actually, last, I mean, probably 5-6 months back, I planned to buy a electric two-wheeler for my wife. So I just hunted around and I could hardly find any electric shops. I mean, the electric scooters, probably the Hero Electric. I just went there and they said, okay, so how do I charge my vehicle? He said, so do you want a removable or, non-removable things? So the thing is, the problem is, I'm staying in a rent house. How do I charge? So I think, then I almost did 1 month, 2 months research. And this is a fundamental problem, I believe. I mean, when most of the people have their own independent houses, absolutely not a problem. And, hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
So I see even if the new apartments, even Shobhas Mantris, none of the people have a charging, the things in their parking lots. I mean, this is the worst situation. I don't know where the electric vehicles will. That is the main reason I found it. Why I'm telling posing to Infineon is, see, if I'm drawing a cable from my first floor, second floor, something like that, so without coming down and switching it off, so there should be an app or some electronics can be developed. This is a huge opportunity in India, especially, this the 3 floors, 4 floors house.
Sir,
This
once again,
is one of the
excuse
reasons
me,
I feel.
sir, we have to make sure that more questions come. So I will set the ground rules. First, we have to keep a positive framework because everybody has limitations, everybody tries their best. Second, keep your question short, introduce yourself, ask the question, and further discussion, we give lot of coffee break. Our coffee break is half an hour.
Probably
You
we
can
can take
discuss
it in the
individually,
coffee break.
privately, no problem. So
Okay, but-
after these house rules are set, we can do, because when you speak longer, some others miss the chance. Like we said in our conference, we don't give memento, no garland, no introduction. We want knowledge to exchange. That creates partnership, okay? So thank you very much. Please ask the question fast.
But what a terrible question. There's a customer who wants to buy something and he can't buy anything. So, Infineon, what can you do about that?
There are solutions today. For example, look, your challenge is if you are basically having an onboard charging, which takes a long time for you to charge your vehicle. So you need to have it plugged in, say, overnight. But there is also solutions for fast charging, where you could charge your bike. You will not get a full charge, but you could basically charge enough in a few minutes, just like you would go in and fill at a gas station for you to get going. Okay, there are solutions, but the challenge here is these are high voltage solutions. So you can't leave them out there anywhere. For example, in an apartment, how do you ensure safety with a 300 volt output? Anybody sticks their hand in, they're fried. So these are certain things that are being addressed. There are certain cutoffs, which, for example, in case of wrong usage. But I think more importantly than that, it is the education of people on how to actually use them, which is more important. There are solutions.
So, there is hope. There are solutions in the field. Connect with Infineon and he will help you along. Okay, where's the mic now?
Sir, one small question, again to the speaker from Infineon. As you mentioned about Hyperloop and aviation, and we already looked at the problems of the road congestion. Is Infineon, as an example, open to working with companies on drone or UAV-like solutions too for intelligent transport solution?
Yes, we have solutions for that. We have other divisions that do that, yes.
And are you open to work with private, outside Infineon startups?
Yeah, we are.
Collaborative.
We also do is, we also incubate a lot of technical companies in-house to help them develop.
Thank you, sir.
See, we also learn from you.
Thank you.
Connect with him. He's got an open door.
Hello, This is a very simple question. We are so mature, and this place is a very improved environment compared to my village. So this Bangalore is what I say. So we are from an innovation company. So we are planning to learn to control the traffic via learning from the ants. See, in a very small space, they are managing to control the traffic. And see the lot of inputs from all the new, all the vehicles which is coming to the traffic, where it also depends on the person who drives. So when I follow a Google map, I go directly, and when a place is congested, I don't mind taking a little out of the lane and trying to go. So there is no rules to restrict all this. So why don't we come up with reframe the problem and come up with a new solution?
That's probably for the researcher. Is that the question?
I didn't quite get the question there. What's the question?
Question is like, it depends on the person. I mean, see, why
Behavior?
the aspect on the person was not changed. I get a new vehicle.
Yeah.
And
No, it's also, there's a push and pull in this. There is the behavior change where you coax people to move into better technologies. The government also makes it easier and more economical to move into better technologies. But there's also the restrictive aspect, which is the stick end of it, where it becomes more difficult for you to utilize, to do things which are not sustainable and not for the betterment of the city. And I think between the two of them, it's about how you change behavior. We didn't come into this world knowing how to drive. It's something that we learned, and now we have to unlearn of some parts of those.
Or learn something new again.
Something new.
So let's learn together new behaviors. There's another hand here in the middle.
Hi, my name
over
is
there.
Ganesh. I'm from the Takshashila Institution. My question is towards Infineon once again. When it comes to long-term economic viability, what are some of the solutions for EVs? So is it swappable batteries? Is it creating charging stations? So that's my question.
That's the $1 million question in the world at the moment.
If I had the answer, I wouldn't be on stage here.
Right.
I'd be out selling
Okay.
it.
So
It's again totally depends on what is that you believe in, and what what is your philosophy behind it. There's not one solution that works for all. Yeah, it's circumstances, environment, a lot of things that actually define, whether it's a swappable battery, fast charging, slow charging, however you want to do it.
right, thank you for that. So if you want to earn $1 million, you can answer that question, just state it. So where's the microphone now?
yeah.
It's over there.
My name is Balaji. This is mainly for WRI. Yeah. Balaji from the Dutch consulate in Bangalore. I'm able to use Uber and Zomato across India, but I'm not able to use
Sorry, could you speak into the mic? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm able to use Uber and Zomato across India, but I'm not able to use my Bangalore Metro card in Kochi or Hyderabad. Why is it so? Are the state governments talking about it, and when will it become a reality? Thanks.
So so the thing is that with government agencies, they get mandates and they get funding from different hierarchical systems, right? So if you look at the metro, they have a central funding along with the state funding. For them to, I'm sure everyone's familiar with the common mobility card concept, right? So that's something that's being pushed strongly. For them to apply the common mobility card is something that comes from the top, and they are willing to do it. For the same thing to happen, say, in a bus agencies, which is not getting any support from the central agency, it's a huge cost to have a technology overhaul. That's just one of the kind of challenges. And when these organizations are really prioritizing services over other aspects, when you're looking at a BMTC, average BMTC commuter, are they going to be using cards? Are they going to be able to afford cards in the first place? There are many multiple questions, right? So the priority of an organization are all different. The financial support that they get to push for certain technologies are all different. So at this point, while it is something that is being pushed centrally, it is going to take some time for that to happen.
Okay, thank you very much. So one last question. Where's the mic?
Yeah. So I have a question to the bicycle mayor. So far I have not switched to bicycles, to ride bicycles in Bangalore. One reason is I'm scared. so I don't feel it is safe. The second thing is it is not fun. So you don't change only because you are very concerned about the environment, as we heard in the morning. You have to also like it so that you do it for a longer time. So my son also wants to go to school with a bicycle. I'm not allowing him to do it. So what is your approach, let's say, if you consider this option, and you have seen, I've seen in your statistic that some people are doing it. I feel not comfortable up to now to go, let's say, from Sachapuro to this hotel in the morning. I'm not comfortable to do that at all. So what is your approach to this? What can be done to convince old-fashioned people like me?
So the first thing is I don't try to convince old-fashioned people like you. I work with the people who are willing to take the risk, and they are the trendsetters, they are the leaders, and that's why they get to help craft this thing for the other people who will follow. And I work with them. That's why you have only 2,000 people there. But the answer is very, the question is very fair. And I think many people ask me this, including the people who already write, could it be a little more safer for me? But yeah, it's a multi-pronged approach. While we need the trendsetters to start doing this thing so we can start showing the data and how many people move, I do the behavioral change aspect of things. We are also working, in fact, on Saturday we have this CMP discussion where they had planned about 174 kilometers of cycle tracks for 15 years. I said you need to be putting 200 kilometers every year. So 2,000 kilometers of arterial and subarterial roads in Bangalore can be covered, which is only 16% of the 12,000 kilometers of roads that are there in Bangalore. That is the scale of intervention and infrastructure that is required, and it is massive. And in order for us to push for that, we need some metrics as well. So we are approaching it in multi-pronged way. There is no either or one after the other. We do all of this in parallel. It is going to be a long, hard road. Safety is a prime concern. But I keep saying every 20 seconds across the world, there's somebody dying in a car crash. But nobody ever comes back and says, I'm not getting in that car again or ban that car. You see what I'm saying? So there are safety perceptions on the form factor of the vehicle. It looks vulnerable. And I've been riding for 10 years. All the people I know have been riding, they haven't been dead yet. But touch wood, it's not an excuse. We have to work on the infrastructure. But safety concerns are overblown. It has been scientifically shown that any vehicle bumping into a cyclist which is less than 30 kilometers or 25 kilometers per hour doesn't result in fatality. So it's speed which is the problem, and junctions are a problem. So in Bangalore traffic, it's I think moving at 15 or 16, so you really don't have to worry. I'm going faster than all the traffic when I ride my bike. But it's hard to explain this to people who have never been on a bike. And it's definitely not safe for kids right now because they can make more mistakes. It is, I would put a decade of struggle ahead of us, at least a decade, and it has to all move in parallel. Like I said, 200 kilometers a year for 10 years will get you 2,000 kilometers of cycle tracks, 200 kilometers per year of segregated cycle track, and that's still only 16% of Bangalore. If you say I'll start cycling after 2030, we can all wait till all that 20% of Bangalore is paved with cycle tracks. Or you can begin now and say, how do I use? Even then, the rest, 84% needs to decide if they're ever going to get on a cycle because they don't have a track in front of their house. So we can borrow from the Dutch, the Fiatstraats, the Uners, safety on the street, segregation. Lots of, we can discuss offline on many strategies that they are. But yes, you may not get on the cycle now by yourself, but I rely on the 2,000 that have and the 4,000 that will come in to start looking at data and making interventions.
Okay, so there's a way to it, and it's a promise of having 200 kilometers cycle paths per year in Bangalore, which is quite an effort. And I would like to invite you now to the coffee break, not only to drink coffee, but as well to exchange ideas, knowledge, asking the questions you were not able to ask now. Just grab the experts and have fun together and bring up solutions for a sustainable world. Thank you very much for that.